begin with, I'm so thankful for you both joining these conversations. There are so many linkages, as I see, in terms of the scope of your work and in framework of this project, Partnership for Advancing Innovative Sustainability. We are continuing the series of conversations on particular SDGs. And today, I am delighted to talk with two wonderful girls and women trailblazers from Georgia and Belgium and Spain as well, in particular, Diana Khomeriki, Chief Specialist at the Cabinet of the Speaker of Parliament of Georgia. She also represents the Speaker at the Parliament's Gender Equality Councils. Previously, she worked in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Georgia, as well as Georgian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. While working there, she held the position of gender expert, closely cooperated with the United Nations in terms of implementation of the wonderful project, a joint action for women's economic empowerment in Georgia. Diana has bachelor's and master's degrees in international relations. Thank you so much for joining. And a wonderful Clara Maspons, volunteer at the Brussels Binder, works as an external contributor to the top 100 women leaders in Spain. She has been working for 2 years as partner relations coordinator at Women Political Leaders, wonderful initiatives uniting women leaders from all over the globe. I hope Clara will talk today about her role there, as she played a vital role in designing partnerships, strategies for fundraising, and also preparing partnership agreements. She holds a bachelor's degree in international relations from Barcelona, and her diverse also global experience will contribute to the gender equality, as well as for sharing experiences in our today's conversations. Overall, the SDG number 5 is vital in all connections, and it's not only about human rights, as we put it, right to participate, the rights for women and girls to be heard, but also it's about benefiting the community, and on all the levels, national and global as well. It's about economic, social benefits. There are numerous examples, for instance, where women involved, the peace agreements are more likely to last longer, the companies earn more, there are more social initiatives. And today I am happy that we will talk with you about the particular aspects of empowerment, because empowerment is like engine without which this car of gender equality would not be moving as fast and as proper as needed. Thank you so much once again for joining. And now I give the floor to Diana to talk about her scope of activities, projects, experiences, and overall your vision.
I would like to welcome you all one more time. I'm very happy to see you, and thank you for a nice introduction and for general information about the SDG number 5, which is definitely a very important one, because empowering women and girls in general is absolutely necessary to achieve more inclusive, more equal world with equal opportunities for everyone. As for my scope of work, currently I'm representing the Speaker of the Parliament at the Gender Equality Council, and the Gender Equality Council in general has the main mission of increasing awareness on gender equality issues among the Georgian public. It also implements various initiatives to support women, and overall also aims to popularize the topics of gender equality among internal as well as external audience. and it has several important directions of work. First of all, it is the determination of main directions of the politics of the country regarding gender equality. It also aims to create a gender-sensitive legislative base, and also the development of gender equality state mechanisms, and overall to raise awareness about the importance of gender equality and women's empowerment. The Council also aims to monitor the activities that are implemented in the direction of gender equality, and also formulates various recommendations to improve the situation in terms of related to gender equality. So we have a couple of issues currently that we are working very actively. First important issue is that we are working on the state level, like state concept on gender equality. This document was firstly formulated in 2006, so a lot of time has passed since then, and it needs to be definitely updated. So this is the first priority that we are working on. We are also working on updating the law on gender equality. We're also working on changing the status of a single parent in order to ensure more benefits for single parents, both men and women. And we're also actively working in the direction of gender budgeting, because this is a very new direction for Georgia and the parliament in particular. So we will be working on introducing new methodology regarding gender budgeting to make the budget more sensitive and more responsive to the needs of women. And fortunately, previously, I also had an experience of working at the chamber, as Karina mentioned, and I had a different perspective there as I was working with private sector companies to ensure that they create the workforce that is more inclusive and that supports non-discrimination. So it's very useful for me to have this new two perspectives that I can compare the situation in private sector and currently implement necessary actions on the level of the parliament. So this is my scope of work very shortly, and I hope to talk about other issues in details during our talks. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Amazing work that you are doing, trailblazing gender equality in terms of legal perspectives, as well as empowerment in terms of disseminating this knowledge and awareness. Diana, just a short question from what you have mentioned. If we speak about proper empowerment strategy, you have mentioned several components like gender budgeting, also legal perspective, and others. Is there some key to be existent in order that we can talk about this strategy as efficient, as successful? What should be the priority? Because for many countries and also local communities, it may be quite hard to choose on what to stop initially and then to proceed. What is your opinion on that?
Thank you, Karina. So first of all, I think it is very important to create a relevant and comprehensive legal base, because without legal base, very often there is no possibility to ensure good social protection, for example, or recognition of the status of a single parent, for example, or the necessity of good maternity leave, right? So first of all, I think working on legal base and then raising awareness about these issues and the existent mechanisms based on the legal base is especially important. So first of all, this legal base should be kind of comprehensive and as inclusive and as possible. And already later, I think the information sharing should be conducted very effectively, because very often people are simply not aware of the situation, and even women are not aware about the benefits that they can gain. This is why raising awareness is the second very important direction. And the third direction is also the necessity to share success stories, for example, of women working in non-traditional sectors, or in general share the statistics, how many women used maternity leave, for example, or statistics and visualizations are always good opportunities to show others what they can do and what they cannot do. So, and in terms of generally empowerment tools, there are many of them, really. However, in general, I would say that gender mainstreaming in all activities of the organization is of utmost importance, and this can be applied differently to different organizations. However, I think it should start from non-discrimination and elimination of sexual harassment at the place of work, so that women are safe at their workplace, and then just to provide equal pay for equal work, for example. So all this in general needs gender mainstreaming. And in order to achieve this, we need more informed citizens and more informed, especially people who are decision makers, on the importance of these issues. And when there is a big group of people who support these issues, they will definitely understand how important it is, and then they will be more motivated to implement various actions in this direction.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for highlighting these very, very crucial components. And I hope that we will talk further on that in our conversations and in terms of partnerships, how we can do and resolve things here. I give the floor to Clara Maspons. Hope she will talk also about her wonderful experiences and overall projects, which are so inspiring and connecting many women worldwide, and also in terms of exchanging motivation, exchanging mentorship practices and cooperation. Please, Clara.
Thank you so much, Karina, and thank you, Diana, for such an interesting insight. Well, basically, as you already said, when introducing me, I worked as partner relations coordinator at Women Political Leaders for 2 years. I joined the organization, if I'm not mistaken, in 2019, right after graduating in international relations. And well, I would say that my trajectory comes largely influenced by mainly two key areas. My interest for societal transformation, and my, let's say, curiosity for social entrepreneurship. So there's always this social part that I've been interested in. So I've worked for 2 years in the field of gender, covering a wide range of areas, but predominantly in promoting women's political leadership. So focused on women and politics. And well, this is basically the target on which Women Political Leaders, the organization I've been working for 2 years, till this July focuses. And it's, for those of you who doesn't know what this global network is, it's basically a network of female politicians whose mission is to increase both the number and the influence of women in political leadership positions. And in my role there, well, I've worked in different areas there. I can talk about it later. In my role there, I drafted and designed partnership strategies for basically global projects based on diversity and inclusion, also about empowering girls and female, well, girls that don't have any kind of reference. And these partners, these projects were basically done together with well-renowned partners such as the UN Women, who would support us a lot, with the World Bank, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundations, or Salesforce. They are all really committed with this cause. And I think that from there we started building interesting projects that are having actually a real impact. I can talk about it about these initiatives later, but in parallel, I've had the opportunity to work in other areas within the gender field as well, as I'm volunteering. I'm a volunteer at the Brussels Binder, It's actually a really interesting initiative because it's an online free platform based in Brussels. And basically, it aims to give women, European women in this case, but I think they're going to extend it to other continents. So basically, they aim to give women a voice in the European debate. Because as always, there's women missing there, and they are really interesting and capable women of giving their insights, their expertise, and of course bringing and level up the debate. And then in parallel, I also work, as Karina said, as an external contributor to the top 100 women leaders in Spain, where basically there we periodically, let's say, analyze the Spanish context in terms of equality and gender policies, and try to anticipate or discuss the upcoming topics and discuss strategically the political, economic, and social agenda and how women can play an important part of it. I would say this is, of course, my field of my scope of work. It's basically related on gender. And for the upcoming years, I'm going to focus never abandoning gender, of course, but like I would like to explore more the social entrepreneurship part and link it to gender, how I can actually improve and help women empowered. That would say that's all on my side. And of course, I can talk about, if you want, Karina, more about women political leaders and the platform that we give to women politicians when we organize this summit, Women Political Leaders Summit, or the Reykjavik Women Leaders Forum, where basically we, like, empowered women gather there and share the insights. And it's a really, really important platform to give them visibility. And of course, as Diana said, give them the platform to explain successful stories and also becoming role models for young girls who at that time, well, who seems that they cannot actually look at someone, because we are missing, it's not that we are missing reference or role models, is that they are not in the front because they don't have the visibility they deserve. But of course, we can discuss it later, and I'll be happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your wonderful story, and what you are doing is just incredible in terms of comprehensiveness and impact and overall your devotion. And here also 3 of us today are for visibility in terms of girls' path towards empowerment, towards being heard, and such girls-to-girls cooperation is also very important. And we will talk about this, but speaking about particular political field, Clara, what do you feel as also the key priority here to reach this ice breaking leadership? How to break this ice ceiling for women and girls? What is the key component, like awareness, as I asked Diana also, or legal basis like quotas? What is your vision on that?
Well, clearly, I think that we can all say there has been significant progress. From my experience, what I've seen working at WPL is that politicians, women politicians, they are really trying hard to make and pass policies focused on social components that are really important and sometimes are forgotten. And there's really goodwill on that, but sometimes they lack the power to actually implement it. So I would, of course, say that there's this goodwill, but of course, we need more allies to make these policies happen and to work towards this gender equality that it's not happening yet, and give more visibility to successful stories. We all have seen what Jacinda Ardern has done in New Zealand and the amazing job she has been doing. So we need this kind of reference to see that women can also do this. Media plays an important part in this. I think that sometimes they are not giving the credit that women deserve, or the discourses that they are using could be more powerful so that people can see that women can actually do this. Let's give it a chance. Let's give them a chance. I think that we are missing this part. Media also could play a nice part in it and could do it in a more efficient way or in a more powerful way. And also men allies, in the sense that rely on the fact that women can also lead a country and they can perform really well, as we have been seeing in a lot of examples. But still, I think that there has been significant progress, but there's a lot to do still. We'll see. But I really trust that we can work on it and move forward.
Absolutely. I hope one day we will reach absolute gender equality. So it would be like as a DNA in our society, social structures. And you mentioned the role of media, which is also very important, because here are double-sided effects can be. From the one hand, sometimes it's discrimination, like judging political women leaders by some kind of not related stuff like clothing and to know the key scope of work. And on the other hand, it's building these trust stories, telling this, and the responsibility of media is just hard to overestimate in this context. I think it relates to all of the country, to most of the countries, if not all. And to delve into a bit deeper, speaking about barriers, because to develop successful strategies, we need to know what challenges we are targeting, what problems we need to fix. Speaking about your own professional or probably personal experience, what are the key barriers that you as girls, leaders, professionals have been facing, or just from other practices or perspectives?
Thank you, Karina. I also just wanted to say that I'm very happy to know that Clara had been working at WPL, because exactly this year we appointed our representative, the chairwoman of the Gender Equality Council at the WPL. So we were very excited that already the Parliament of Georgia is also represented at this very wonderful platform. So I hope that a lot of good, interesting meetings, discussions, and summits are coming. Right, as for the barriers, I would like to outline first and the greatest barrier that women face, and this is gender stereotypes and harmful social norms. And I think many other barriers exactly stem from this very, very big barrier, because in general, this wrongful gender stereotyping and harmful gender stereotypes, they create many other problems for women to realize their potential to the fullest. And this can be demonstrated in various fields and in various ways. For example, it can include the disproportionate division of labor within households, for example, or this can be related to the opinion that women should be subordinate to men, that also perpetuates violence and coercion, for example. And so all this is the basis, actually, from which other barriers stem from, in my personal opinion. Of course, another important barrier for women, I would like to mention the barrier to economic empowerment, is the horizontal and vertical occupational segregation. That means that women are mostly accumulated in the positions that are paid less and that are lower in comparison to the positions of men. And this is related exactly to the glass ceiling or the sticky floor. That means that women are not allowed to grow and achieve high positions and become decision makers. Of course, gender pay gap is also a great problem in this direction. For example, in Georgia, it is almost like 30%. That is quite a huge gap. And of course, this is also the reason that demotivates women to work actively. And of course, as I mentioned, unpaid household work. So in case of Georgia, according to the UN Women's Study, women spend like 40 25 hours on household work. So this is an equivalent of the full-time job. So of course, this definitely creates significant barrier to creating equal opportunities for men and women. And of course, there are legal barriers as well. For example, many women face the lack of access to land, capital, financial resources, and technology. And of course, this creates barriers for them. And despite the fact that, for example, the legal frameworks of like 114 economies already cover, for example, sexual harassment, enforcement and access to justice is still slow, and it is still very challenging. If we consider the current situation, the coronavirus outbreak even exacerbates existing inequalities for women and girls in every sphere, from health and the economy to security and social protection. So I think this period gives us more opportunities to recognize these inequalities and to address them more effectively. Thank you.
Thank you so much for mentioning very crucial challenges. And in fact, the pandemics, corona crisis just have devastating impacts not only on other fields, but also exacerbating this gender inequality. We can see how home-based violence have been increased. For instance, in Council of Europe states, there were some urgent resolutions. And of course, some companies are developing, or civil society, special applications to help women to get connected, to get out of this situation while staying at home. And also the recent study which have shown how the scientific advancement of women has been slowed down because they have more time home, children at home, and no opportunity to devote needed time for the researchers, and how many articles were submitted by women over this period in comparison by statistics from the previous time. So of course it needs to be resolved, and as you mentioned, this visibility, if now we recognize this problem in post-COVID, post-pandemic world, we are likely to get there without these barriers and stereotypes. Thank you so much for mentioning. Clara, what linkages do you see with your vision? What do you think of barriers and your personal story?
First of all, I think I would like to start answering this question by pointing out that I'm talking about my own context here, a context that it's not the same for all women. And I think I speak from a privileged position here that I have come to know over these past years, knowing people from all over the world, and compared to other contexts where multiple gender-based barriers and also their intersections with other factors are significantly stronger and worse, including age, ethnicity, poverty, disability, as well as, of course, the right to quality education. So going back to your question, I think I could discuss and explain the barriers separately, those affecting women and those affecting girls. But at the same time, I believe that to a large extent, one is a consequence of the other, meaning that, well, clearly there has been significant progress, but women, as Diana said, still earn less than men, have less access to resources, and remain, of course, underrepresented in economic and political leadership. That's absolutely true. I have been able to have a closer look at this scenario through my time at Women Political Leaders. And there's a report mentioned, as mentioned by I think it's the King's College. In one of its reports, they introduced the so-called the big three when it comes to barriers, meaning money, violence, and cultural norms. And as they say, norms are, let me quote this, norms are linked to women's access to the time, freedom of choice, and freedom of movement required to fully, for instance, engage in politics. So that would, of course, be a strong barrier. And going back to the consecution I was referring to, the barriers that we women encounter do not appear suddenly in adulthood. I think that they appear when we are children and they have such a big impact on us that they remain embedded in us. So that when we grow up, we have to fight twice as hard, in the sense that we have to fight against our thinking, the thinking that has been embedded on us, and against the system that discriminates us. So I think that gender socialization not only affects development opportunities, but also influences the aspirations and the time girls will be able to spend pursuing them, or for instance, the traits that they will display when they grow up. So I think that these and other barriers have accumulated by the time they reach adulthood, women reach adulthood, and they have such a strong impact on us, and that they restrict and limit women's economic, social, and political participation. So I would definitely say that education is a key part when it comes to barriers. And of course, after that, you can see the consequences when we are older and where we are in this adulthood part of our lives, basically.
Absolutely. So this education can help to resolve even the money problem can be received when women, girls have access to quality education, and then they work, and then they can get the chance to go in politics after this, having some resources and also some freedom in terms of internal choice of what to do as a hobby, what to do as a professional life. It's very important to have this choice of various destinations, and to feel that we are free to choose whenever we want to become, and what we want to do in this life also. Thank you so much for highlighting these very important components. And our project is called Partnership. To talk a bit more on this, you have already started mentioning wonderful examples from your countries, from your experiences of how this mentorship, this women-to-women networking can help. So my question is basically about girls-to-girls cooperation in this, how we can do this together. Because of course, if we speak about bigger movements, larger scales, we need to unite, and then these impacts will be.
Thank you, Karina, for raising this question. Indeed, power is in unity in this case. And of course, women supporting each other and having a joint voice regarding particular issues and regarding the recognition and understanding of women's needs is absolutely crucial in order to achieve the huge impact and in order to transform the understanding and perception by the society of women. As I mentioned, gender stereotypes are creating significant problems for women, and this is why exactly women united together can break these stereotypes. And it is very unfortunate that very often the information is spread about how women compete with each other, that they are not cooperating enough. And I think this is exactly the period when women can unite in order to break all the stereotypes and to make their voices heard together. And even if we take the case of Parliament, for example, when you're talking about the new law or any kind of new rule that should be implemented or even put on the agenda, of course, if there are more women who are supporting the cause of women's empowerment or putting some gender sensitive information in the law, of course, this should be women united together who will act in order to this law to be adopted and then implemented. Unfortunately, men often cannot understand what are the needs of women and how they should be put into the legislation, for example. And exactly this should be a group of women held together who will send this message and make others understand what is needed for women and how it needs to be visible within the legislation. And recently I've read a very interesting research in the Harvard Business Review, and according to this research, while both men and women benefit from having a network of well-connected peers across different groups, women who also have an inner circle of close female contacts, they are more likely to land executive positions with greater authority and higher pay, while there was no link found for the success of men in terms of gender composition of their inner circles. So if we think what can be the reason behind this, the thing is that women trying to rise up into leadership, they face cultural and systemic hurdles that make it harder for them to advance. Like this is so-called unconscious bias, right? And the study suggests that a way to overcome some of these hurdles is to form close connections with other women who can share experiences from women who have been there, done that, and from how to ask for what you're worth to bringing your unique talents to leadership. It means that when women are united, they can better understand together and they can act for the benefit of the whole community. And this is why Girls2Girls partnership, already from the small age, understanding that exactly together they can change the world, leads further already to successful and strong women adults who already create changes on the level of politics. So this is why these partnerships and this joint force to transform the society and to break this harmful social norms is of utmost importance for the creation of an equal and inclusive society.
Thank you so much for this very inspiring vision, and I hope these partnerships would be facilitated even speaking within the parliament in terms of inter-party partnerships, when women from different parties, from different probably perspectives, try to cooperate on some common issues. It also builds more, and as from the researchers as well, it also built more stable connections and overall efficiency of the policies of these initiatives increase when women are not competing but work and join despite being from different parties, political forces. I think it's also very important because sometimes even within one political party, women compete, and it's not good for the overall performance, and also it's not win-win. It's very, very far from the win-win. And when all women cooperate, it's about win-win for both men and women and children as well.
Thank you very much for outlining this, Karina, because exactly this Gender Equality Council is a good example of inter-party cooperation, because maybe these women disagree about some other political issues, and this is natural. They're from different parties and they may have different priorities, but when they are represented already at the Gender Equality Council, they understand that they have a lot in common, because these are the issues that are important for every woman, doesn't matter which party they represent. And exactly this inter-party cooperation in this case is of utmost importance because, again, women are trying to have a joint voice regarding the issues that are important for women and for the whole community, of course. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing this very important initiative and practice. Good luck. Just keep up growing in terms of these cooperations and this council to maximize its efficiency. Very great practice. Clara, what is your vision on that? How do you perceive Girls2Girls partnership, cooperation? What does it mean for you and how to proceed with it?
Well, first of all, it's going to be difficult to add anything else to Diana's intervention. I completely agree with everything she said, so I'm going to try my best. I think there's an African proverb that it fits perfectly and defines how necessary cooperation is, and says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I think that if one thing is clear is that we need to go together to achieve strong results and move towards this gender equality world that seems so difficult to achieve, no? So I think that if one thing is clear is that cooperation has a multiplier effect. Our way, women's way of leading, leadership and cooperating I think it goes against individualism and inequality too. And if this is leveraged in the form of successful cooperation, combined with a human-centered approach, we can achieve high impact social outcomes. Is basically what Diana was saying. I couldn't agree more. Talking about my own experience and my work at WPL, I think it's really important to raise our voices. We still have we had a very interesting initiative called Girl2Lead, and it was basically focused on mentorship between women working in high-level positions in politics and girls who were interested in pursuing a career in politics, which nowadays it seems difficult because we are missing, it's not that we are missing these role models, but they are not giving the visibility that they deserve. So this initiative was really useful to show young girls that they have role models and they can also pursue a political career and they can be successful in it. So we encourage girls and in doing that and proving that they can actually do it. And then another experience where I saw that cooperation was really important was at the Reykjavik Global Forum. Karina, you were there. You could feel the feeling where everyone was just empowering themselves, but also the others with sharing their stories, their insights, sharing the experiences, the struggles that they have been facing. And I think that's giving women this kind of platforms is really, really important. And last but not least, mentioning now the COVID pandemic, I coordinated a campaign called Female Parliamentarians in the Fight Against COVID-19. It was an initiative in partnership with the World Bank and the IMF. And on a personal level, this experience showed me in-depth knowledge, of course, on a variety of policy areas, including sustainability and public and private alliances, but helped me to fully understand the tremendous work that women in politics were doing and how little visibility they were given. So we received a lot of messages saying, oh, this is wonderful, why we didn't know about this? And it's again, going back to the media role too. Women are doing amazing things in politics and in other fields, but they are not giving the visibility that they deserve. And I think that if we cooperate, we can try to give ourselves the visibility that we deserve, even though it would be nice to receive help, to be completely honest. But I think that working together is the only way we can just try to go little by little, step by step, and achieve gender equality. So I would definitely say that we need to work and cooperate together.
Absolutely wonderful words, and also thank you for mentioning this atmosphere in Reykjavik. In fact, it was like the energy united, so great motivation, explosion of cooperation, of thoughts, of this power. When you feel that you are not alone, and the politicians from different countries, the business leaders unite and exchange these best solutions, practices, stories as well, which is also very important. And I'm reminded of the poetry from Omar Khayyam. I will not translate it full into English, but the key meaning is when a small drop goes into the ocean, it becomes a big and very, very deep ocean. So if our small contributions unite, we get these oceans based on these small drops of water, small drops of involvement and devotion. And it's very important to understand that we are all one big family, both men and women, and we shouldn't compete. We should unite our actions and motivations together for our common good. Thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. What you are doing is just amazing, so inspiring, and I hope that these practices would be heard by our viewers when we post this on Facebook, Facebook, on YouTube, other channels. So it will also reveal motivation to girls from different corners of the globe who would like to contribute to this women leadership, who would like to be heard and to do their best in their particular fields, not the least politics, social, economic fields, and many, many others. Thank you so much once again. And as a concluding point, could you please share your message with the world to make it like the quintessence of your motivation, of your story, to motivate and pursue that regardless of the odds, girls should keep up going and should build this new normal in this world?
I would like to say that the prosperity and inclusiveness of our world depends on each and every person. This is why I would like to call for every single person to be progressive, to transform harmful gender stereotypes and norms, and make their personal contribution to building more equal and inclusive societies. And this will definitely provide tangible benefits for both men and women and for the whole world.
Thank you so much.
I would go for a sentence that I like very much, that is deconstruct to construct. And this is precisely what I believe is necessary to do. Deconstructing, when it comes to gender, of course, means going back to the constituent elements, the original elements, meaning beliefs, values, judgments, and combining them in a different way, recovering, well, just bringing up elements that aren't biased. So this begins again with education, which is where we can find the strongest biases and where we need to definitely intervene. And then, of course, it continues with development and social structures. But I believe that this is the only way we can gradually dismantle the barriers that prevent the empowerment of women and girls. And it's also a trace of part of gender equality that it's sustained.
Thank you so much, Clara, Diana, for these wonderful messages. And it's so great to see how we as that generation, we are changing our mindsets. We are more involved into environmental issues, into sustainable development goals, and other aspects. We see the world differently. We see the world more inclusively, more equally, and more fair. So it's very important for us to keep up going and to unite our individual visions, which are all similar, because we all want to live in a fair, equal, and inclusive societies. Thank you so much. I hope it's our first group, but not the last meeting, and we have much more things to discuss in terms of particular experiences, also particular aspects of gender equalities. It's very comprehensive aspect, and I would be happy if you will find opportunity to join our platform again. It's just deep honor and privilege to have you both with us, to communicate and to learn from you, to discover your world, your inner world, and the world of your activities, professional life, and the countries. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Karina. It was really a great pleasure. These are issues that definitely should be discussed often. So it was really a pleasure to participate in this talk and see both of you. And I would like to wish you a great success in all your endeavors. You are doing great things, and I wish you to be that motivated, that positive, full of energy in order to do more good things that are definitely very good for the whole society. Thank you very much, and it was really a great pleasure.
Thank you, Karina, for the invitation. And it was really nice to meet you and share this discussion with you, Diana. I hope to get in touch. And congratulations, Karina, for your amazing initiative and the passion that you devote to it. I think that, again, going back to the Reykjavik Forum, I can already feel the atmosphere, and I already feel more empowered after sharing our experiences and having this discussion here. So thank you very much. I wish you the very best of luck to both of you, of course.